Oh, good morning. Here it is, Friday morning. Not sure what the date is. Looking like the sun's coming out again. Yeah, it's about 9 o'clock maybe, something like that. It's old John, Twist the World News. And well, something began a few years ago. Several years ago. People decided they wanted to manipulate America. They wanted to manipulate America's system of law and order and justice. They decided they would lie, scheme, and cheat and plot and do whatever it took to get what they wanted. They decided they would manipulate the electoral system and cheat on it. Just all kinds of friggin' rot. Just disgraceful rot. I don't know. Poop sewer, whatever you call it, anything you want. I don't care. It's a mess, and it smells just exactly as it sounds. Poop sewer. There's people out there, they'll say, oh, no, they'll bawl and squall this and that and whatever, but darling, it smells like pig poop. What these people done was wrong. Listen, David said in the Old Testament, said the wicked plot behind closed doors to capture my soul. Liberals and socialists have played games behind closed doors, rubbing their heads together, and they tried to push their garbage off on the innocent, the decent, the honorable, just, the helpless. They tried to screw America. Lying liberals and scheming socialists tried to force their way over on the American people. And now it's coming out. One of the first bigger names could be looking at indictment now. Andrew McCabe. And there's more. There's a bunch more. He's just one of the biggest that's been in the spotlight for the last 2 years or better. He lied to investigators. They plotted. Listen, these people actually committed treason. Sedition is to plan something in order to manipulate, to bring in an overcoming power. I mean, it's something. Sedition is a vicious thing. It's something that's schemed and plotted. It's something that goes on when people can't see it, where people can't see it. It's something that takes place where intentions are being made. They're being talked about. They're being ployed. They're intentions that should not be happening, but they're done in order for something else to take place. Sedition takes place, and then treason is formed out of it. When you put that sedition into action, it becomes open treason. These people tried to take over America. It seems, for those of you that don't want to let your mind believe that those people are actually evil enough to do that. Well, I don't know if I can. I just don't know if my words can convince you. But there are others. There are others that where you are, they sit back like you and I. Basically, the little peons. Ones that are sit back just observing all this stuff, and their voice seems to be nothing, But they watch this stuff take place. But now they're seeing it. They know it's taking place. It's coming out now. It's coming out. And there's a lot of big names in it. And I'll be honest with you, man, the way the Democratic Party is fighting, the way those liberal and socialist Democrats are fighting, hey, it's hard to tell who all up there right now. It's hard to tell who all up there right now belongs behind bars, if not shot for treason. Personally, I would have them shot. Because you can't let people like that are willing to step over the blood and the sacrifice and the pain and the voice and the choice and the vote and everything of the innocent, the upright, and the helpless. They are willing to just step over and ignore it to have their way. You can't let people like that get in their head that they can get by with anything they want. Because if you do, you're had, Jack. You're had. They will eventually get to the place that they're going to stick their toe of their boot right in your mouth just as hard as they can. And you're going to like it. You're going to like it. That is the intentions of socialism. That is the intentions of liberals that set the platform, that set the stage for socialism to come in. They are willing to lie, cheat, steal, kill, whatever it takes to get power. Now, you might as well just buckle down and get it in your head. These people intended your harm. Oh, they might not call it harm. They might refuse to acknowledge it as harm. But the point is, they're trying to steal your vote. They're trying to steal your voice. They're trying to steal your choice. They're trying to steal your rights. They're trying to steal everything that is personally important to you to satisfy their own thinking. Your individual person, your individual thinking, your individual existence to them belongs on a bonfire. They'll say, well, in order to take care of everybody, you're going to have to die, sucker. And that's just their opinion. You know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Or I'll try to explain it again or whatever. There's a system coming to life. It tried to come in all over the world, but see, this is the thing. America is basically leader of the world, basically. I mean, we may not particularly want to be. We may not particularly try to be. But this is the thing. We are at a point that either godly, moral substance or essence takes the lead in the world, or the whole world will just basically explode into madness. You're either going to do what is godly and moral and just and right, or you're going to cry. Your families and bloodlines will be stuck with the perverts that want to rape and mutilate at will. You know, godly thinking never overpopulated the world. Now, they've been people within the body of Christ that at times would do stupid stuff. They would do stupid stuff that would cause unwanted pregnancies and things that wasn't supposed to go on. But not near as much as the world. Not near as much as the world. The world is doing it on a normal basis. On a normal basis. It's common for them to do that which is wrong, and it's driving the population of the world up. Big time. Now, the same godly thinking that leads these people into activities that are causing these problems of overpopulation and divorce and sexual disease and everything is, that same thinking is now trying to create the laws to stop it. That same unnatural, immoral, ungodly, unjust thinking is trying to create the laws to stop it. So where does that lead their thinking? Where does that lead them, or where does that put them when it comes to making this law? It puts them to the point, out of that godless, immoral thinking, well, we can cross boundaries to get what we want in order to make it better. You know, the Bible says, should I do evil that good may come? God forbid. How can that which is dead to sin live any longer therein? It's stupid to think that we can do evil and good's going to come out, because the evil will show up. Sooner or later, that evil is going to show up. And when it shows up, you're going to lose people's trust. You'll lose people's trust. Okay? You'll lose their trust. You'll lose their hope. You'll lose their ability to follow you and to back you. It's just a bad idea. But they're wanting to create laws out of the same thinking that created the problem that now needs to be controlled through a law by force. The same perversion that started the mess now wants to end it right from the center of the perversion. They overpopulated the world, and now they're killing millions of babies. They overpopulated the world, and now they're practicing euthanasia. They overpopulated the world, now they're willing to cut off everything that doesn't agree with them. It's happening all around the world, people. We're just basically just getting an earful of it in America. It's been going on around the world. And things were when Obama was in office, they were getting turned loose more and more. Hatred was turned loose more and more when Obama was in office. He sowed racism and hatred into the hearts of people. They lied and cheated the American people. Bill Clinton led them into that when he was in office. He showed them you could lie to the American people and get by with it. There's nothing to it. Just tell you one. He showed you could get by with it. And the Democratic Party has followed it ever since. Ever since. They follow that trash thinking ever since. Ever since he done it, they followed it. You look at it now, it's gone way past lies now. It's gone into cheating. It's gone into stealing. It's gone into everything in the world. You look at people, look at the investigations and stuff that have been started up. These politicians, Baltimore, and the mayor, this mayor that committed himself to bribery and other stuff. This is another town. It's not Baltimore. This is another town. Then you got this, was the mayor of Baltimore or something? It's a black woman. I don't know. I can't think of her name. But she's up on charges and stuff like that. Or not charges, but they're investigating her. And it's going on in different places. Look at California. California is a lawless, moralless mess. It's pitiful. It's literally pitiful. You know, when you hear people talking about, you can walk down the streets in some of these big cities, and these Democrat-ran cities, said you can smell the poop and the pee when you're walking down the street. There's something wrong, people. There's something wrong. That's just an open sign of what's going on behind closed doors. And if your leaders get behind closed doors and they think those things that are ungodly and immoral, and that stuff progresses into the actions of their office and their rulings or decisions or whatever, hey, the poop and the pee smell in the street, it has to come. It's going to show up sooner or later. It's just showing up. That's just like, I know people don't like me talk about Islam. Oh, you're Islamophobic. You people, you got to face the facts. Islam has committed atrocities all over the world for thousands of years. Listen, there's no person, whether they're Christian, Muslim, Hindu, European, American, whatever, no person in the world with two decent brain cells rubbing together between their ears want their families to go to war, want their families in harm's way. But Islam teaches, it teaches within its words, within its doctrine, it teaches everything that doesn't walk with Islam dies. You might as well face it. Islam has become a serious problem. And just a few weeks ago, a few months ago, this school started promoting Islam, and they told these kids in this school, said you're gonna pray into Allah and declare Allah the one true God. That was in America. That's in America. That's on our own soil. You're going to declare Allah the one true God. Right here on American soil. A school done that. This Christian girl says, no, I will not. I'm not praying unto Allah. I'm declaring him one true God. They expelled her. They punished her because she would not submit to the rot of their minds. They punished her. They were the ones that crossed boundaries. They were the ones that done the poop, the screw up, the mess, the socialist friggin' attitude that says they can force everything and anything on anybody they want. They were the ones that done it, but she got punished. Okay? Now listen. People, you're going to have to wake up. You're going to have to realize what this friggin' liberal, socialist, godless, immoral, Islamic attitude is going to do if you don't get your lips off their butt. You're going to have to realize that these people are going to tell you black is black and white is white, and baby, you're going to love it. You're going to love it or else. Christian America gives you a choice. It gives you a choice. You make up your own mind what you're going to do. And you can chase that as long as you want. As long as judgment from God's word doesn't hit you and you pay the price for that, or your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. God said in the Old Testament, I'm the God that visits the iniquity of the fathers upon the children into the third and fourth generation. You can chase it as long as you want. But now Christian leadership of a nation like America is supposed to say you can do your thing. But if your thing intrudes or interferes or causes problems with those around you, you've had to lick. That's called justice. You do not have the right to do other people harm. You do not have the right to do other people wrong. Justice has the right to chap slap you if you do. That's called justice. That's called rightness. That's called uprightness. That's called decent. That's called good. You got a problem with justice, you're the problem, Jack. It's not justice, it's you. You know, people have taken on an attitude in this nation. They can go as godless and as moral as they want. They can scream their filth across the fence, and the neighbors over are trying to just have a peaceful, serene environment. And you get your perverts across the fence think, well, I can drink and smoke, and I can do anything. I can curse, I can scream, I can do anything I want, and no, it's nobody else's business. Listen, when you can get to your puss back to your private place where everybody else don't have to look, smell, and see you, smell you, Here you do anything you want. That's your choice in America. That is your choice. But you do not have the right to force your will, your garbage, your ways, your thinking over on everybody else. Just because you're a pervert does not mean everybody else is supposed to be a pervert. You have never had that right in America. Not in America. You want to look, smell, and act that way? Go to one of these other countries. Hey, I'm sure there's some of them out there, but they'll endure you for a while. Yeah, for a while. But see, these other countries don't give you much choice either. Nothing gives you the right to intrude or interfere into other people's lives and serenity and peace. Nothing gives you that right. You do not have that right. If you take it upon yourself to take that right and do it for yourself, justice needs to hit you between the eyes. Justice needs to hit you between the eyes. But that all follows what's going on in D.C. right now. McCabe, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Lynch, Holder, Obama, and the list goes on. Lois Lerner, IRS, and those people that was with her, all of them pleaded the fifth when the Tea Party was asking for tax exemption, and they wouldn't give it to them, but yet they thrown it to others. But because Tea Party was a conservative, opposing view than what they wanted, they cut it off. They wouldn't let it go through. That's called cheating, people. That's called cheating. It's wrong. For those of you that's got your tongue up their butt, that is wrong. That is wrong. Lois Lerner and others need to go down with McCabe and others. They planned this. Obama put this stuff together. Him and a bunch of others got their heads together. Their lying, scheming, socialist, liberal, pervert heads together, and they tried to bring this nation under their control, into their subjection. And that's coming out now. They need to be dealt with. And honestly, they need to be dealt with harshly. They need to be dealt with harshly. This is not just lying to an investigator. This is bigger than lying to an investigator. These people planned sedition and treason. They planned it. They were working with it. They were trying to cheat the American people out of their voice, their vote, and their rights. And they need to be dealt with harshly. You know, you go back in time when people done stuff like that, they'd put them to death, son. When they go in and they'd plot behind closed doors against this nation, or well, any nation basically. I mean, even a socialist nation. You take someone that is actually a conservative, moral voice. You go to a socialist country and you start making plans behind closed doors and getting a group together to overcome that socialist nation. Then you're treasonous to them. You are treasonous to them. Then you, under their law, you will be judged. And it's no different in America. You come to America, or you're an American, and you make plans against the government, against the people, and you try to overcome and overpower that government, then you're treasonous to America, and you need to be judged. Rightfully so, you should be judged. But the poop it's unreal right now. And listen, people, this is going to go into your medias too. The NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post. There's people, listen, there are people that are working within these organizations, these medias. There are people that held hands with that. They held hands with it. They were part of it. They were part of it. And they need to be took down with it. They need to be took down with it. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of it going on. And as A.G. Barr, as he opens up investigation into these towns, these towns that's wanting to doing all this stuff or trying to bring illegals in and protect them and everything in sanctuary cities. As these investigations opens up, he needs to set his foot down on these people, buddy. Set his foot down on them. You know, California thinks they're just going to go in and just totally do anything they want. But I'm seeing the reports in the news right now that says that Donald Trump is not going to let them go in and do things over there and jeopardize the rest of the nation because of their actions. They say it's not going to happen. So they'll probably be facing judgment. And rightfully so. Oh, and while I'm here, let me throw this out there. I know some of you probably asked the same question. You just this woman that's coming up, supposed to go to court today. She might have done heard it now. I don't know. It's these entertainers or elites or whatever that bribed these colleges. I've got a question. Are the people in these colleges that accepted this money and these bribes, are they being dealt with? They didn't have to do that. But they have. They done it. They accepted the money. They made the deal. They're talking about punishing these Hollywood elitists. Well, yeah, maybe they need to be punished. But then you need to go back on these colleges and say, hey, you were part of it. You were part of it. The dean, somebody there at that college is going to have to pay for what they done. Somebody there is as guilty as that entertainer or that elitist. You know, the swamp, it's the godless, immoral attitude that people have, that they think they have the right to manipulate and cheat within the system. That's what the swamp is. The swamp isn't just politics. That's not the scope of the swamp. The swamp is the things that are done, that are committed, that are not godly. They are not moral. They're not just. They're not honorable. That's the things that people want to do to satisfy or to achieve their desire. And while they do it, they're shunning or cutting other people short, knocking other people out of fair chance. The swamp is the mess that goes on inside the mind that thinks it has the right to run over the rest. That's what the swamp is. You know, I don't know exactly Donald Trump's thinking on it. You know, but I know some of what he's thinking. I don't know exactly the details of what his thoughts are on it. I know some of it. But to me, that's what the swamp is. The swamp is the attitude to take advantage or to manipulate and put it into effect. To me, that's where the swamp is. That's what it is. You know, and there's been times that I guess all of us have been there. At one time or another, some way or another, we wanted our own thinking to be carried out. It wasn't godly, it wasn't moral, it wasn't just, it wasn't honorable, it wasn't kosher, it wasn't cool, but we wanted what we thought to be carried out. You know, that's my thoughts for the day. You know, I watch Fox News and I see McCabe facing charges. That's what they're talking. He's facing charges, indictment, and then this Felicity, the entertainer, she was headed to court and said there'd been 8 or 9 others confessed to being guilty of doing that, and well, is justice going to be served? Is justice going to be served? You know, if you look at when I put my post on, you know, I'll say John Davis, Twisted World News, and then I'll have his little question mark period, and I put that down there, and the next line down, next line or 2 lines down, it talks about justice. Because in America, or really in any country, should be, but in America, godly moral justice is the only thing that keeps your individual voice and rights in place. Godly moral justice is the only thing that protects you as an individual, making up your own mind. Nothing else. If you want to be fair, you've got to be just. Well, if you're not just, you're not fair. Fair is the right to have a choice. That's fair. That is fair. But if you try to manipulate somebody else's right by giving yourself an extra nudge, an extra advantage, then it's no longer fair. It isn't just. Godly, moral justice is the only thing that protects the individual in America. And if that is manipulated or screwed, it's taken advantage of, then, well, we have the gun. That's our right in America for the weapon. For the weapon. It's a gun until it gets into a point that you have to use it against somebody else, that you're forced to use it against somebody else, then it becomes a weapon. Liberal thinking, socialist thinking invokes the Second Amendment right of the American people. You hear me? Liberal thinking, socialist thinking invokes the right of the Second Amendment in the lives of people. That gives the people of America the right to bear arms. It's when lying liberals, scheming socialists step across the boundaries that are not meant to be crossed. So, you know, these Democrats, it's unreal, man. They have this, they tried to lie, cheat, and steal, rob the American system of operation. They've tried to take it from the American people. They lost in it. They've lost in it. But yet, they think, well, we have the right to investigate. See, as long as they're investigating, they call it an investigation, then other people are not supposed to interfere with that investigation. They have no right to investigate. They have nothing because they are the ones that broke the law. I'm gonna shut up. I don't want to ramble. But that's my point this morning. Is they tried to steal America from us. You know, it reminds me, talking about all this trillions of dollars worth of health care, and they're gonna pay for the health care around the world, and they got all this stuff going on in their head, and Let me spit this out. It's been on my mind for a couple of days. Rosie O'Donnell and others have went on The View, with Whoopi Goldberg and, well, whoever else would have been there at the time. But I've seen times that Rosie O'Donnell or someone else would say something, and Whoopi just look at him and a dazed look and say, "What in this world are you talking about?" I mean, they just throw something off the wall out there, and you just see this look on Whoopi's eyes. Where in this world did you get that? But that's what these liberals and socialists are doing, people. They just coming up with this off the wall garbage. I mean, just that's the reason I don't want to ramble, because I don't want to just spit out something. Anybody can spit out something, but if you're going to talk about godly, moral essence and justice, you can't just go around spitting out anything. You got to keep yourself in some sort of focus. And these liberals and socialists, they are not focused. Their minds are just racing into the darkness, man. Racing into the unknown. Racing into the places that they think will scratch people's ear. You can take an old dog. You can take an old dog and you can reach down. You can pet that old dog. You can take your fingers and get in behind that thing's ear, and you just sit there and scratch that old dog. And they'll just sit there and let you scratch away, man. That's the way a lot of people are when these liberals and socialists are getting on these debate platforms and whatever else, And these liberals and socialists, man, trying to find that ear. Have a good one. John Davis.